everyone, welcome to Adventures in Everyday Cooking, where every day can be an adventure in your kitchen if you let it. Today's adventure takes us to holiday baking. I'm going to make for you my grandmother's famous tea ring. When we were growing up, my grandmother used to call it coffee cake. So for years and years, I believed that this was what the world thought coffee cake was. And not until I was an adult did I realize that coffee cake and a half moon cake or a tea ring were a totally different thing. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, I am going to scald my milk in the microwave for about 2 minutes. And I just barely want bubbles to start to form on the surface of the milk, and that is a scald. You need to make sure not to skip this step because scalding your milk actually changes the proteins inside the milk. So here we go, scalding. All right, and while that's scalding, we're gonna go ahead and activate our yeast. Some people like to put sugar inside of their water. It just depends on the day and how active I want my yeast to be. I'm just gonna do it normally. So that is 2 1/4 teaspoons of active yeast. And this is about 110 degrees of warm water. And you'll know your yeast is activated when it starts to get all warm and bubbly and foamy. It's already warm, just needs to be bubbly and foamy. All right, we have our scalded milk. Now we're gonna go ahead and add it right to our mixer. And we are gonna add up 4 tablespoons of butter. All right, and once the butter is melted, we are going to add our vanilla, our salt and sugar, and then we're gonna add our eggs when the mixture is not hot anymore, because we don't want the eggs to cook inside of our hot liquid. But we want the liquid to be warm still because it's gonna help our yeast. All right, so let's give that a stir. And I'm gonna go ahead and break up those yolks because they are being stubborn. All right, and then we will put our foamy liquid right in. We'll give that a stir again. And now we're gonna add 4 cups of flour, and I'm gonna add it about 1/3 at a time and just get it to mix. Start mixing. And once you see most of that flour incorporated, we'll add some more until we're all done. All right, now we're gonna give that a mix and let it come together like a dough, and it's gonna take a second. Once it is all together like a dough, we're actually gonna continue to work it for about 5 minutes. All right, and now we're gonna go ahead and add some more flour because this dough is awfully soft still. So I added about 1/4 of a cup. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, that's why you add little flour at a time. That was fun. Wow. That was super exciting. Let's get that dough off the hook for a moment. All right, now is about the time we're going to go ahead and lightly flour a surface. We're gonna turn this off, and it's still going to be a little doughy feeling, real sticky, but once we work it on the counter for just a minute or two, it will come together perfectly. All right, so we're just gonna scrape this out right here. And all right, and we are just going to fold this a couple times like this. And look, already the dough is not sticky anymore. All right, look at that. Look how beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dough. Okay, now comes the hard part. We are going to let it rest. If you have the counter space, let it rest right here on the counter, but we're gonna put a bowl over the top, like so. And you want it to stay here for anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes, just until the dough has risen to twice its size. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this right here, and I'll be back in about 30 to 60 minutes, or until I think that it's risen to twice its size. All right, the timer has gone off, and now we have our beautifully risen bread. We're gonna take a cutter, and we are gonna cut the dough right in half like this. And I'm gonna put one of them right over here, and we're going to work with the other one. So this is what you call punching down. So we're gonna wanna punch down the dough one time. And we are going to want to make a rectangle with our dough. All right, and if it feels a little too sticky still, just flour it up. All right, so now we're gonna make it into a rectangle. And if it starts to stick, just pick it up, get some, because you really don't want it to stick. You want it to be able to move all around. All right. And it doesn't have to be a perfect rectangle, but you'll see why you need it in a rectangle in just a moment. All right. When you are sure that all the air bubbles are pressed out, that looks fabulous. Now we're gonna make what's called the streusel. Some people do this by hand in a bowl and use a pastry cutter to make it crumbly. I think it works amazingly to do it in the food processor. So here we have 1/4 cup of flour, a full cup of sugar, and 1/2 cup, which is a full stick of butter cut into chunks so that it will easily mix. We are just going to food process this thing until it looks like a fine butter. And see how there's a few chunks of butter in there? We'll give that one more quick pulse. And that should be good. Oh yeah, that looks beautiful. Even a little over processed. It started to stick together. Now we are going to put half of this mixture right in the middle, and you can just eyeball it. If I think when I start to spread it out, if I think that I got too much, I can always scoop it back out and put it in, because this is for 2. So I want to make sure that I have enough for both of them. And just spread it evenly. It does look like I have a little bit too much, so we'll just put it. Yeah, there you go. If you get too much, the bread will not cook, so just make sure. I mean, you could pour this out and actually evenly distribute it between cups, but it's close enough. All right, looks great. Now we're gonna take some cinnamon and sprinkle it over the top. Now, if it's cold in your house as you're making this, now would be a great time to turn on the oven because we're gonna need this to rise to double its size in a warm place, and that could take anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes. So this is what we're gonna do first though. We're gonna roll it. So let's find the flattest side. This is probably the flattest side, so I will start over here. So I'm gonna roll kind of like a cinnamon roll, only this is gonna stay as a roll. We're just gonna roll it all the way up and just try to make sure that that stays somewhat tight, just like this. Looking good. And we're gonna pinch this end so that we don't lose any more streusel. There you go. And we're gonna roll just so that the seam is side down. And here I have a prepared baking tray. It's parchment lined because if you do not parchment line your baking tray, bad things will happen. All right, so this is the tricksy bit. We're gonna pick it up and put it right over here. Whoops. That's all right. Now we're going to form it. So here I'm going to form it into a kind of half moon or a C, a backward C, or well, it's backwards to me, but it's the right way to you, for you. And that's it. That's what we're going to do. Okay, my dough is cold, so after I cut it, I am going to turn on my oven. Actually, I'll turn it on now to 375. All right. Now, I'm going to roll this. There we go. That end got a little squirrely, but that's okay. All right, so what do we do with the scissors? We are going to make about a half cut. So don't cut all the way through, but make about half cuts all the way around. And this will make this is what makes the classic, beautiful half moon cake. Now, as you can see, it's kind of pointy. So all you have to do is just push it down so that it's round again. And at this point is when you can open up all of those holes. So open them up a little bit, make sure it's in the middle of the baking tray, because once this rises again, you will not be able to move it at all. So get it into your perfect shape. If you have a tray that you're planning to serve it on, get the tray out and just make sure it's about halfway. So if it's a circular tray, make it circular. If it's an oval, make it an oval. We like it like this. So now I'm going to set it off onto the oven, and I'm going to cover it with a towel. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this one, and then we're going to let them rest for 30 to 60 more minutes or until they have truly doubled in size. Now, I want to show you, I guess I should have brought it over there, show you the difference here. So as you can see how the dough is not very springy to the touch. That's because I rolled it out. But once we rise this, you'll see the difference. It's amazing. All right, I'll see you back in 30 to 60 minutes. All right, time to see if they're ready. Oh, yeah. See what a difference that makes? See how they kind of, yeah, those are ready. Nice and fluffy. All right, into the oven for 20 minutes. All right, there's about 5 minutes left on the timer, so we are gonna go ahead and make the glaze. So into our mixer is gonna go 3 cups of powdered sugar, 4 tablespoons of melted butter, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and 1/4 to a half of a cup of water. We'll start with 1/4 and then we'll see what our consistency is, and then we'll go up from there. And then I'm going to turn it on low to start with. So you can use milk or water in this recipe. I chose to use water because this tea ring will sit out and I don't want any sketchy business going on. All right, so let me turn it up a little bit. All right, let me scrape down the sides. Now it's very important that you don't over mix this or else you will break it like a sauce. So just mix it enough until all of the powdered sugar is incorporated together in a nice glaze. Okay, that looks great. All right, so here's a trick. These squeezy bottles, you can buy them on Amazon for like $1. Sometimes the dollar store has them. They make the best glazing bottles ever. All right, so now I'm just going to put the glaze right into my bottle. There we go. And then I will just stick it right on. And now our glaze is ready to go. Now we just need the tea ring to be done. All right, time is up. Let's take it out. Oh yeah. Check that out. And into the oven, the other one will go. Hey Google, set a timer for 20 minutes. All right.
Starting now.
Thank you, Google. All right, so as you can, that's funny. She's never said no problem before. She's getting wiser. All right, so as you can see in this beautiful, oh, so delicious. Okay, down here, I don't want to touch the pan. I already burnt myself this week by touching a hot pan, so I'm just gonna let it cool. This needs to cool completely before we put the icing on it. Otherwise, the icing will just run completely off. But I wanted to mention this stuff right here, keep it. Don't discard that stuff. That is like caramel goodness. It's so delicious. My husband that's his favorite part. He will come home and he will eat all of that. All right, and to help that cool a little faster, we are going to put it on a cooling rack. And I'm going to remember that that's a hot pan and move it out of the way. Look at how beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? And all of that right there, that's all the caramel goodness that you want to keep. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to slide this off just like that. I'm gonna save the parchment paper under here because I want it to be able to catch all of my drippings when I am ready to ice it. So let's let that cool. Be back in a little while. All right, our second one is out of the oven and the first one is cool to the touch. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to ice them. So I'm just gonna give it a little shake. Not that it's gonna shake much because it's totally full. But all we're gonna do is we are going to let it drip over the sides. And you'll notice that this icing is a little brown. That's from the vanilla. If you prefer white icing, you can use the vanilla that is pure, it's clear. It does exist. Some cake bakers use it in their frosting and you can totally use it, but it pretty much dries clear, so you don't really have to worry about it. But basically we're just drizzling this over so that it runs over every little inch of this. And then we do it again because we're not gonna have hit every spot. And the goal isn't to hit every single spot, but it is to give it a great covering of icing. And this icing is good for both of these, but that one just came out of the oven, so we are not gonna ice it at the moment. All right, pretty perfect. We'll go around one more time once it is absolutely completely cool. But in the meantime, it's time to taste. All right. I think I want to take from this side. I never want to take the end because the ends are kind of that pinched together area where sometimes there's not as much filling, but there's a small one. And takes me back immediately. Takes me back to Grandma. Earlier this week, I made these and I put them in my cloche that's on my counter, and they were gone by the next day, which is why I made them again. Right. Look at that beautifulness. Isn't that gorgeous? It's like perfect. This is like the perfect bite. The perfect bite is right here. Yum. Yum, yum, yum. Oh man. Made it fat. It's so good. Sometimes I do serve these tea rings with a bottle of extra frosting if I'm going to a party, because some people love extra frosting and then some people don't. I'm just gonna sit here and eat it all. You guys are gonna watch a whole video. Most of the video is just of Heather eating. All right, I should go. Not talk with my mouth. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe and you can leave me a comment. In fact, I'd love for you to tell me what holiday treat that you're gonna bake between now and Christmas Day. Maybe, just maybe, I will make it myself. Some of the things that I'm making in the next couple weeks are Oreo truffles, sugar cookies. I know there's more, but for the life of me, I cannot think of everything right now. Oh well, it's because I'm thinking about this. I'm like, just get off here. Get off so you can eat another piece. All right, I'm gonna get off. All right, guys, see you later. Bye.